Now, Turkish security forces have stormed the headquarters of the main opposition party. Riot police using tear gas forced their way into the offices of the CHP party in the capital, Ankara. Supporters of the party's former leader, Özgür Özel, had barricaded themselves inside the building. A court last week overturned his election as party chief, pointing to irregularities. Özel is a prominent opponent of President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan. And for more on this, I'm joined now by DW correspondent Dorian Jones, who is following the story in Istanbul, where he joins us now. Dorian, please tell us what exactly happened there today in front of and also inside the CHP headquarters.
Well, there have been quite dramatic events, even unprecedented in Turkey's very colourful political history. We saw riot police breaking down the iron gates and then storming the building using huge amounts of tear gas. They flooded the building with gas and also using tasers and water cannon. It was quite dramatic. Several people are reportedly being injured. Now, Özgür Özel, the leader of CHP, who has been replaced by the court, stayed in the building to the very last moment, then came outside and delivered a withering speech attacking what he said is an attack on not only the main opposition but on democracy itself. He then said that elections aren't won in the party buildings, but they're won on the streets and on the squares, and that is where he vowed he would take this battle to. He's now expected now to set up his rival leadership in the parliament. He is the head of the parliamentary group of the opposition CHP, and that is where he will organise his battle for the party itself. And he is vowing that there will be protests coming days. He is hindered by the fact that Turkey is entering a 9-day holiday, but it is expected to be the beginning of a long and protracted, bitter fight for the main opposition.
And how does Özal's eviction and, of course, the riots, the protests that followed, as we've just seen and as you described, how does this actually help the president of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdoğan?
Well, it is seen as a major boost for President Erdoğan. The CHP has increasingly been challenging him in the latest polls. They are polling ahead of his ruling AK party, and is seen as an increasingly formidable threat to his leadership. The replacement of Özgür Özel with Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, the former leader, he will expect to cause disarray and division within the party. That will make it much more easier to defeat, and possibly he will be also looking to Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, who has been put back into office. He ruled the party for 12 years, and he lost more than a dozen elections. So he is seen as a much more easier person from Erdoğan's perspective to defeat. He's 77 years old compared to Özgür Özel, who is 51. And also he's seen as a man that Erdoğan possibly could look to make a deal with to change the constitution. He wants to do that, so allow him to stand again in elections. So he is seen as a political move by Erdoğan, although he does insist the courts are independent. But there are also risks for Erdoğan. The fact that if this move causes major unrest in the country, and there is a great deal of discontent in the country is facing over 30% inflation. Food inflation is even higher. There's widespread reports that people are increasingly hungry and angry. If this move feeds into that wider discontent in the country, unites what the country's very deeply divided opposition, that could pose a major threat for Erdoğan going forward. And also another big concern for Erdoğan is the financial markets. Following the news on Thursday, the markets crashed and reportedly they spent $8 billion defending the currency. That follows the $40 billion they've already spent defending the currency in the wake of the Iran war. There are major concerns that there is major unrest going forward. That could trigger a financial crisis and a crash on the currency. This is a major risk being taken by Erdoğan, and a sign of possible potential weakness on Erdoğan's part, that he is viewing the CHP as a major risk to him going forward.
All right, DW correspondent Dorian Jones in Istanbul, thank you so very much for that.